Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome back. A new episode of Maximize Monday. If you're watching along, you can see that Pretzel's on the call with us. If you're listening, you get to miss out on that. But I do have Shana back with me as well. If you watched the show, you are no stranger to her. She was on with me about a year ago, I guess, at this point, to kind of discuss your role change and how you were pursuing some new opportunities here. So you've been in the position for quite some time. So I wanted to have you on again to kind of talk about financial services and what all goes into that. So how are you today?
I'm doing well, and Pretzel's good too. Yeah, he wanted to come say hi. But yes, I'm doing well. I'm glad to be back. Can't believe it's been a year already, right? Time just
That's
flies
right.
by.
Nice. It's always around the SummerSlam time period. I think we have you on. So
Yeah. So we just gotta make it an annual tradition.
right, absolutely. If you watch SummerSlam, then you know that Shana will be on Maximize Monday in the
Yeah.
coming. For sure. So the reason I wanted to have you on and you and I had discussed this was there's a lot of misconceptions about the financial planning industry and what goes into that. So we're definitely going to do a deeper dive into that, clear up some of the questions people might have, the common ones that you get initially. But you've been doing it for some time now. So now that you've made the move into financial planning and assisting people with those avenues, what have you enjoyed most about it? What's kind of what drew you into the field and now keeps you motivated, hungry, and staying within the field?
I love helping people. And my one of my biggest critiques and complaints that made me get into this was like, this is so important. It's not taught in schools for the most part. Maybe some people might have a finance class or something like that, but knowing like how to plan, budget and the importance of insurance and stock market and investing, like they don't teach us this stuff, and it, retirement, and it affects everybody in some way or form. So, and before I got into it, I didn't know much about it myself. So I wanted to learn about it myself, take care of my own finances, and then again seeing how like so many people are like me, educated but not about this, make a good living helping people with something that's going to affect them in some way or form.
Yeah, absolutely. So what did that path look like for you then? So if other people are kind of interested in pursuing the same thing, what did that require for you in terms of, licenses that you had to pursue, classes that you had to take, things like that? What was the path like and how did you juggle that while still working full time as well?
So the first thing you have to get is like your life and health license. That way, like I work for New York Life. We're known for life insurance. We are a full wealth management company. We could talk about that later. But so the first thing you have to get is your life and health. That way you can do any sort of business. So it was it was you study on your own, you take the test. So I studied for a couple of weeks. Luckily passed on the first try, so that was good. And then after that, you're just learning. If you want to get registered where you want to do like stock market products and investments and things like that, then you have to go down like the series line, the series 6, the 63, the 7. It really depends on what you want to do. Like if you want to do just insurance, then you really, only need like the life and health. But I wanted to do everything. So like I have my 6 and 63. You see my name, like FSCP, that's just the extra designation, which stands for Financial Services Certified Professional. So I know what I'm doing kind of thing. And that was like a class that, it was actually 4 classes, had to pass, the final for each one. And then I got that designation. And there's other ones I'm going to be working on later this year. But to start, you start with the life and health, learn the products and go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so health insurance is one of those things that a lot of people know they should have. Most people do have it in some form or another. Life insurance is a little different, especially for, the younger crowd, the
Yeah.
pre-30s crowd are like, I don't need it right now. So, when
Mhm.
you're talking to people about that, what are some of the things that you kind of try to break down to them in terms of not just the importance of having it, but the different tiers that they can get into and what you recommend and when you recommend looking into that stuff for anyone?
Yeah, I always say the younger the better. Honestly, you're never going to be younger and healthier than you are today. And a lot of younger people, they don't have, they don't have kids, they don't have this, so they're like, I don't need life insurance. And most people just think it's, like, there's a death benefit, you pay a monthly premium, and then if you pass away, somebody gets money. But there's so much more to life insurance. There's one like a permanent life insurance where it builds like cash value, and you're growing your money through the life insurance, and it has a tax-free and benefit to it, and you access that when you're alive. So you're putting away money, you're growing it tax free, which you don't get anywhere else. And a lot of people don't know about that. And then again, with life insurance, it is based on age, gender, and health. So the younger and healthier you are, the less your premium is going to be. So you start it young, do like a 20-year, something like that, like a permanent policy, pay into it for 20 years, and then that money keeps growing after you stop paying for it. There's so much to it, and that's how a lot of people are building generational wealth. So I always say the younger, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, on the other side, with the financial advising, and there's a lot of misconceptions about that too. So what are some of the initial questions that you'll get from people when they reach out to you in terms of helping them plan for the future? Because it goes beyond just your basic retirement account. There's a lot of different tiers to that. So how do you try to guide them right off the bat during those initial conversations and give them a breakdown of the different avenues they can take?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's different. It's not like a one size fits all plan for everybody. So, get to know them, what their goals are, how much are they making a year? How much are they saving? Do they have like a 401k or something through their job? Like, what do they have in place? And then try to fill in those gaps. Like a lot of people are like, oh, I have life insurance through my job, which, okay, yeah, that's great. God forbid something happens to you, you'll get something, but like, you don't get to keep that benefit. If you retire or leave that job, you're going to lose that benefit. Yeah, you might get it somewhere else, but it's always good to have, like something on your own. And most of the jobs don't offer the permanent one, like the one with the cash value that I mentioned earlier. So there's something I always look at, and then again, what's their budget? Help them come up with a plan. Like, all right, you're saving this much, or you're not saving at all. You're making this much a month, you have this much bills, kind of come up with a plan. All right, you're spending too much on this, let's try to cut back on this, put something towards that. And, again, it's, everybody's different, but, see what they have in place and then help them with their goals and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, for the people that are fortunate to have a 401k through their work, they're still able to come to you for services as well. And I've always kind of heard it's best to not have all your eggs in one basket type of mentality with that. So when it comes to breaking down those types of retirement accounts for people who already have existing ones through their employer or through some other means, what are some of the things you offer them and the different approaches that they can take in terms of planning for their future beyond what they already have set aside?
Yep. I'm definitely a firm believer. Don't have all your eggs in one basket. Using the 401k as an example, it's great, especially if your job is giving a match. Definitely put into the match. Like a lot of people used to say like, oh, put in 10-15%. Like, yeah, you're putting a lot away, a lot of money away, which is great, but you don't realize when you do, it's tax deferred. So you're going to pay those taxes when you do take that money eventually. And of course, if you're building it up for 20-30 years, say if you're at a job a long time, you're going to have a lot of money. So you're going to pay a lot of taxes on that. So you want, like I said, you want to get the free match from the job, so you want to put something towards it. But if you put all your money in that one basket, you're going to pay so much taxes. So that's where, like I mentioned with the life insurance or other platforms where, you could diversify your portfolio. Nobody want, we all have to pay taxes in some way or form, but people will rather pay it on the seed than the harvest. And again, you want to diversify that portfolio so that way you're not paying taxes on everything and help you save some money too.
Yeah, absolutely. Now there's other avenues that you could take. You've talked about the insurance side of things, but some of the other utilized ones are setting up college funds or setting up things for, your kids or in the future as well. So what are some of the things that you tell your clients when they're preparing for not just their future, but for others as well? What are some of the services that you recommend that they look into on that fold?
Yeah, again, everybody's different. I know for college planning, a lot of people they know of 529 plans because that's what you hear, 529. Those you have to be careful with too, because there's a lot of limitations, and they unfortunately with the 529 plan, you have to claim them when you file for financial aid, and that might cost you your financial aid. So that's something you have to consider. It's a great product, but it fits for the a certain group of people. We have investment retirement accounts too, like a Roth IRA is great for like middle class people that are not making that much money. They could put away $6,000 a month or $6,500 it went up to this year, a year. And then that has like the tax-free benefit. So, but again, it's limited. You can only make a certain amount. You can only put a certain amount into it. But if you fit those qualifications, it's definitely a great product. We have retirement annuities and things like that too. Again, that's, for more long-term planning, but we can help you, grow your money, put some guarantees, make sure, years that the stock market isn't doing great, that you don't have that much loss and things like that. So again, everybody's different, but
right. And that was one of the questions I was going to ask you, because there are some hesitations that people have when it comes to planning for their future, because some of it is based on the stock market and the trends, and it's sometimes can seem like a gamble to them. So what are some ways that you try to ease their concerns or offer them options where they're still going to be investing in that way, but they don't have to have the wariness of trusting you with those types of types of action?
Gotcha. Yeah, we would build a portfolio based on your risk tolerance. Some people are very aggressive. They don't mind the risk. Younger people, especially, you have a long time to grow that money. A lot of people, especially when they're getting older, they don't have, if they're like 5 years away from retirement, they don't have as much time to take that risk because, if, we have a bad year, your things go down. So, we build a portfolio based on the risk tolerance. New York Life has some great products where we have some guarantees where, you pay a little extra fee, but you're guaranteed your principal and things like that. So that way, even if the stock market tanks, like you're still going to get the money that you put in there and lease and things like that. So, and then if they don't want any risk, you could do like a life insurance or something like that, where it's, the growth is through the insurance company. So that way it's, guaranteed, no risk. And,
Yeah, absolutely. So then the last question I'll ask you is, what's the key advice you give to anyone that you work with regarding, the ever-changing job industry and how that impacts how you prepare for the future, how you prepare for new careers? Someone comes to you and asks you for advice and how to plan ahead like that. What's typically your go-to in terms of this is the key piece of advice that you need to take in for that type of plan?
Start early. The earlier the better. We all want to retire one day. People in their 20s are not thinking about retirement because it feels so far away, but we see how time is flying. And just a little bit, like tell people, like, that might have a smaller budget, open up like a savings account in a different bank that's not your typical, like the one that you use every day for your checking, and just put $10 a paycheck, something like that. Just even if it's small, just something separate that you don't have as easy access, so you don't get tempted to spend it as much. But just putting something away each paycheck, $10, $5, you'll see it grows over time. And if you can find a good savings account now, like the high yield savings, they're giving 3-4%. So you might you get a little bit. You're not going to make $1 million, right away, but definitely putting something away. Like I said, if it's just $5 a paycheck, something, and the earlier the better you start planning.
Yeah, absolutely. So if anyone has questions about their future, their planning, what's the best way that they can get in touch with you, and how can they find you to set up those types of calls?
I know this is gonna be airing on LinkedIn, so you could, I'm on here. My email will be up there. You could add me. Cell email is always the easiest, and LinkedIn too. So.
All right, perfect. Well, Shana, thanks so much for jumping on here with me. I appreciate the insight that you shared. If you're not following, connect with Shana, please go ahead and do that, especially if you have questions about your financial planning. Otherwise, we'll talk to you next Monday.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.